What's up, bro? Hope you're doing well. If you want a short answer to the title of this video, get on good habits, stop the bad habits, focus on your purpose. That's it. However, I would recommend you that you watch the whole video because otherwise you're not gonna get all the value that is in here. Okay? So let's start with how my life used to be when I just did the bad habits all day, basically. So backtrack to 2020 March, basically when Corona just started, because that's a pretty good overview. Woke up, started gaming, was on fucking YouTube, just watched the really just useless videos all day. And honestly, I knew that it wasn't doing anything for me. I knew that I was just using time, but I didn't know anything that I could fill up my time with that was better or that just gave me more fulfillment overall. So just stuck to video games, which was honestly at that time I had quite a lot of fun with them, and social media because yeah, it's pretty addictive to say the least. Fast forward to 2022, I believe. Yeah, same thing basically for the 2 years after that. Bro, during that time I was fucking moderating Discord servers, like the fucking Discord admin at 14 or 15. 15, it was so fucking cringe, but yeah. Start next chapter with just getting introduced to Hamza and knowing who he is. Start to get on some good habits, and my life just basically skyrocketed from there. And honestly, if I just kept going on the trajectory of gaming and video games, definitely very different things as you can hear. Gaming and social media, shit like that, bro, I'd still be at the same place that I was because I was pretty fucking addicted to them. I'll get to that in a little bit later. So basically, the thing that I did is establish a routine for myself. Now, a routine for me looks like this. This is the blank page right here. And I've got 7 habits that I do, which are the good habits. Okay? 7 habits that I do. 3 of them are mandatory. So if you want to improve your life, 3 of them you have to do. No fucking no. Like you can't skip these. If you skip any of these, you're really just compromising a lot on the progress. First habit you have to get into, in my opinion, the easiest. Still maybe a little bit uncomfortable, gratitude journaling. Gratitude journaling is very important. Here's the thing. If I told you as an offer, use 5 minutes of your day and then you'll get happier. And I sold that in a course for like fucking $4,000. If people would find out a way to make themselves happier, to make themselves more productive, to have better relationships and everything of the sort, that it just, in everything you can think of, gratitude journaling improves. People will buy that for $4,000. If you're a person that wants to get that shit for free, start gratitude journaling. It legit takes 10 minutes. It's not even much. I've got my gratitude journal right here. I'm gonna show you right here. It looks like this. You write down, like, let's say 5 things, not more, 5 things you're grateful for. I'm gonna read like one thing. I'm grateful that I got some good shit done today and yesterday. That's it, bro. The important thing here is not that you just be writing things down, but actually feeling gratitude for that thing. Okay? Because if you're just writing the things like I am grateful for, I don't know, food or air, doesn't really get you far, okay? Because you're not doing much. Bro, some fucking dogs crying outside or something. It doesn't get you anywhere, and it just keeps you in place because you're not actually feeling the thing. You're forcing yourself to write that thing down. At the start, it may be uncomfortable, okay, for like, let's say, the first 2 or 3 weeks. But when you start feeling like gratitude, when you do those journalings, bro, you're gonna feel like a fucking. You're just gonna feel amazing. Like, it will go up quite exponentially. Might start out like this, but like week 3, it will go up and will stay at this high place somewhere. I can't really predict how it will be for you, but that was how it was for me. and I've never stopped doing that since. I've missed like 3 days in more than a year now, at most. Okay, and it really fucking helps, because in everyday life it just helps you. You are grateful for things. You don't see the negative so much. And if you are if you're a person that has problems with negative thinking, this is the go-to. Honestly, if you're having problems with a bad mindset, bad everything, do this for a month, and I guarantee that more than half of it will be gone. Now, the second thing that is mandatory is meditation. Basically, the same reasons. It's you can do gratitude meditations as well. Also works. It's pretty great. Tried it as well. But meditation, the skill that you get from meditation is mindfulness. Basically, staying in the moment and not being like getting lost in thought like that. Okay, because if you get lost in thought, most of your focus and attention. Last video, by the way, check that out. Most of your attention just goes away. And if you can't focus your attention on something, then you are basically of no use to anybody. If you're just in your thoughts the whole time, okay? If you can come to the present moment, then you can change things. You can't change the past, and you can't change the future without the present moment, okay? Very important stuff. Now, one thing that I want to emphasize is that meditation, gratitude journaling, and our third habit, which is working out, you can't do these things without consistency. Any habit requires consistency, okay? Consider it like this. It will go up in this curve, more or less. Because if you're consistent, you're improving 1% every day, maybe, okay? Like 1% every day doesn't sound like much, okay? Let's say you have a 1% exponential growth every single day. Put that into perspective with 365 days. You've improved so fucking much if you do all of these just great habits every single day, that you will not be able to you will look back and you're like, whoa, that was me back in the day. Damn, bro, I've come a long way since then. And same thing applies for third habit, as I already mentioned, working out. It is basically your bodily health. You can do workouts however you want. You can do home workouts, you can do calisthenics, you can do gym workouts. I don't really mind. Whatever works for you. For most people, gym works. For me, it doesn't. For example, I do home workouts and they work fabulously for me. So really, just try what you think is right. If you don't know what's right, try and go to the gym, and you'll figure that out along the way. But the important thing is just do something, because if you don't do anything, your body's gonna look the same way. Moving on, 2 habits that I recommend that you get into your everyday plan, but you don't have to. Still strong recommendations. Those would be reading and walking. Reading is really fucking important. Here's the thing. Reading is basically like one of the best ways to get information. You have one person's lifetime, most of the time, lifetime, for $10. You understand the value of that? A person who has spent his all, complete life learning something, you get that inside of a book. You can get his lifetime experience in usually like 6 hours, probably even less, depending on the book. You're paying $10 for that. It is a huge gain activity, okay? And it's really, really fucking good. It feels good for me, for example. If you are a person that is against reading, I swear, the only thing that you need is a book that actually interests you. If you have been on self-improvement for a while, you just need to find a book that's currently relevant for you, and you'll happily read it. I guarantee you that right now. And the second habit that I want to talk about is walking. Walking is a pretty underrated habit, in my opinion, because it's just seen as a little bit mandatory, not mandatory, just a little bit boring and samey, and doesn't really just get much flair. Okay, let me tell you that it is probably the activity that I like to do the most of the day. I get out of bed at 6 a.m. and at 6:30 or so, I just go for a walk for an hour. The important thing is you have to, well, you don't have to, but I recommend that you go to a place where there are no like cars or anything, or at least very few, and the place should be full of trees and nature and full of the good stuff, basically, like completely away from society. Because without that, you're just in a city. You're breathing in all the bullshit air because the cars are just going at it, and usually it just isn't going to get you very far. You can far better concentrate. You can see a lot of cooler things, and everything just gets improved because you're in nature. I'm gonna have a few photos up right now because it's fucking magnificent when you're just out in nature, experiencing a few stuff, and just really just amazing in my opinion. And now we get to the two activities that I have in my everyday everyday plan, but you don't have to. You don't have to really take them. I learn languages and I drum because those two things, while they're challenging, they're also fulfilling in like the good way, and they also just give me room to develop myself in the way that I also want to go. Because languages are a natural interest for me, and drums are the same. Drums also give me an opportunity to, you know, have like another physical outlet other than working out. And I do it every day. So even on my rest days, I still get some pretty decent sweats, which is pretty cool. So yeah, that is it for the good habits. Now we get to the bad habits and how to actually stop them. The important thing here that you have to memorize is how a habit is actually structured. A habit is structured into four different steps. Those would be a cue, a craving, a response, and a reward. So let's start with the cue. The cue is basically the thing that sets off each habit. May it be good or may it be bad, it really doesn't matter. But I'm gonna focus more on the bad things here. So basically, when you have a bad habit, we're gonna take porn as the basic bad habit, which we're gonna analyze. For me, the cue back when I used to still do it, the cue for me was when nobody was at home and I was sitting on my chair. If nobody was at home and I was anywhere else, if I was like maybe doing a workout, drumming, or in the kitchen doing some, I don't know, something like getting food or something like that, didn't happen. It only came when when I was on the chair. Okay, that's the cue for you. You're probably gonna have a different cue, but it's pretty easy to point out because there are a lot of patterns in terms of habits. Habits are basically patterns, and our brain just saves effort because it doesn't have to analyze them. The things become patterns, and we repeat them automatically in order to save energy. Step two is the craving. The craving starts after the cue, and this is when you want to like beat your meat like a monkey, basically. And I don't think I have to say much to this. Craving in terms of good things might be like, hey, I want to get some exercise, and it's basically always the same. And step three is the response, basically doing the action, and step four is a reward, the thing that we actually like desire or basically the outcome that we want to achieve. That's so for porn that would be like sitting in a chair, craving like, ooh, I want to beat my meat, doing the action, and getting the reward of an orgasm. Now, here comes the interesting part. You can actually get the craving part, sorry, the response part. That part can actually be substituted really easily. The cue part, you will never be able to get rid of that. Okay, so when you're sitting in the chair, you will never be able to get rid of that. You have to get that clear. The craving, same thing. You may get a craving for something else, however, and the thing that I use when I get a urge for a bad habit, and it really works for me. Hamza fucking had it in his last video. I thought I was having something original, and he just mentioned like, yeah, when you have a bad habit, just do 100 push-ups, and that's basically what I do. Like when I have an urge to do something bad, I legit just go ahead and do 10 push-ups. When I do that, okay, have the 10 push-ups. If the craving comes again on the same day, 20. The more I do it, then 30, then 40, then 50, and so on. And every day I reset that counter to start at 10 again. I do not know why it does it. The reasons may be that your brain thinks that, ooh, the push-ups are getting difficult, bro. I should maybe stop. And maybe you do enough push-ups that your arm just is like unable to do anything for that for the rest of the day. So it really just works for me. If you can't do push-ups, do squats. If you can't do squats, bro, do push-ups. There's no real excuses unless you're like in a hospital or something like that because you broke 10 bajillion of your bones. Okay, so that is the thing that I use mostly for just getting rid of them if I have cravings. But I got rid of my cravings beforehand. So how do I do that? Let's say you have a self-identity here. We're gonna take the example of video games this time. So let's say you're a gamer, okay? You're a gamer here, and you're like, yeah, video games aren't that fun anymore. I'm gonna quit. 3 days later, you're back playing World of Warcraft. Doesn't get you far. However, the most important thing that you have to do is get away from the mindset of a gamer and go to the mindset of a successful person. Okay? So, when you're a gamer and want to actually quit gaming, you go over here and say, no, I'm not going to game anymore. I want to be a successful person. You're not quitting anything. You just realize that, hey, this doesn't align. This doesn't align anymore with my personal identity. If that doesn't align with your personal identity, you're going to cease doing that activity. Okay? That's basically how it works. Because if you will find it a lot easier to line up with your self-identity than with doing the bad habits. And if you have standards of here, and usually video games are up here, of course, you're going to do that activity. But if your standards are up here and video games are down here, you're not going to raise it. You're not going to go down with your standards to play video games, are you? Because if they are above and you see them as a good and high ROI activity, then of course you're going to do them. Pretty obvious, isn't it? But if they are like down here and your ROI is like, doesn't really correspond. Ooh, I could be working out. And you go up here, checkmate. Video games are just basically gone for your life, and you're doing far better things for yourself. Now, with that said, that is how you get rid of bad activities, or the ones that I've at least tried, and they've worked really well for me. If these don't work, I may do up a follow-up video. If these don't work, then I'm gonna search for some more methods. Leave them down in the comments. Just let me know. And now we actually get to the part of implementation. Now, how do you implement this? Step 1, make a habit tracker, okay? You can copy me, basically. Like here you go, with all my habits, like dates everywhere. And you have walking and so on and so on. You just write down the habits that you want to do. As I said, the 3 mandatory ones, working out, gratitude journaling, and meditation. The two ones that I strongly recommend. So write down those 5 if you really want to do this. And another one, or another 2 maybe. I'd cap it at 7, because 8 gets a little bit difficult. So do those 7 activities every single day. And in a month, if you improve by 1% every single day, those activities are going to accumulate over time, and after a time they're often going to be exponential. Now, that is a huge gain. And as I said, in the span of a single month, you can change your life. I've done that, and holy shit, let me tell you, I've never looked back since. It is a huge change, and sure, it's not going to be easy for some of you, you have to do a lot of you have to do some willpower at the beginning, but some of the things might also come naturally. Like gratitude journaling came naturally to me. Meditation I had done before, just only once a week, and some of the things I actually had to get used to and struggle a little bit with willpower. But when these things become habits, which takes 3 weeks around usually, you will see that they are a lot easier to do. So yeah, with that said, those are the things I had to share with you. If I have some more, I'll do a follow up to this. And with that said, thank you very much for watching. Take action, boys, because this is the starting point if you have not started yet. See ya.